I'm going to talk a little bit about surviving the early adoption wilderness. Firefox OS is this great new mobile operating system put out by Mozilla. I had the good opportunity to go out and spend some time in Mountain View at the Mozilla offices there, learn a little bit about it, and when it was still being developed before they announced the launch. And just going to talk a little bit about the platform and what my experience with it has been. It's really exciting. They're trying to do some really interesting things with it. So first question is, what is Firefox OS? Firefox is a secret mobile platform developed by the Soviets back in the 80s. It was stolen for the Americas in a very daring raid by a very skilled pilot. Once we had it, we reverse engineered it. The navigation system eventually became what is known as the popular desktop browser with its name today. That's an awesome story. None of it's true, but it's fun to tell. What happened is Mozilla said, we've got all these mobile platforms and the ecosystems on them are really closed, Apple, RIM, Windows, and Android had the promise of being truly open, but kind of fell short. So they said, we're going to do it ourselves. It's all HTML5, it's all open technologies. They have their own store, which isn't restricted to just that. You can build your own, but you can build all of your apps for it just with web technologies. It's really cool. There's some caveats with that. When you're jumping onto this as like an early adoption, you're kind of like Lewis and Clark, You're looking at this brave, bold wilderness. You're ready to explore. It's got a land of promise and rumor, but you don't have Sacagawea to kind of like help you navigate the way to that distant Azure shore. You kind of got to figure it out yourself. And there's some challenges that are involved in that. And a big one is when something is like so new, the documentation on it just kind of sucks. So you're kind of like just out there kind of in the dark a little bit. You don't really have anybody to turn to. The developers might not really be accessible, so you're left with whatever documentation they've given you. For Firefox OS 4 months ago, the documentation was horrible. You might find something written about what you're trying to do. It might be accurate if you're really lucky, but more often than not, you're running into dead links and you were running into flat out wrong information that was accurate 2 revisions ago. But if you tried to use it now, you'd end up bricking your phone. These guys are everywhere. Bugs, well, piranhas, but they're like bugs. And they eat you alive. They eat you alive as you're out there trying to do all this cool stuff with this new technology. An example, they created this really nice simulator. It was a plugin for the Firefox browser. You could just pretty much install and run your Firefox OS apps right in the browser. Awesome. Great for developing. The thing was horribly broken. The one you would download from the add-on store was horribly broken. So how do you deal with things like this? Like Neo, it's open source. We can view the code, which was a great help for trying to develop on it when it was so new. One challenge we had to deal with was trying to actually install a web app onto a phone. You do that with a manifest file, but there's no tools to validate what you're doing, not 4 months ago. But being able to look at the source code of the Firefox OS, it's all HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So simple. And it helped to figure out kind of, what we need to do to make things work. So today, it's not a wilderness. It's more like a frontier town. Mozilla has been improving it. They've been doing all kinds of things to improve the documentation, to write better tools for it. But, there's got a lot of promise. They had a wonderful event at Mobile World Congress where they launched it, made the announcement, totally dominated the event, and got people really jazzed about it. The developer phones for it sold out. They've got new carriers coming online. They're launching in Brazil, Latin America, and all these places in Europe in a couple of months. But no matter how good things go, there's always the risk of you're going to die in the end, right? So the app we worked on was great. Testing fine. We had a couple of test devices, really slick, no problems. Submit the app to Mozilla, wait for their approval, comes back, breaks. What happened? Doesn't break for us. What's going on? Come to find out, the problem is actually at the OS level. And what are you going to do about that? Just going to have to wait. Anyway, that's my talk. I hope you enjoyed it.